What up, everybody? It's Lonnie with Charts and Labs here on Christmas Eve, taking a peek at TXC. It's been a while since I did a TXC video exclusively. It's been mentioned on, but I was trying to build some of the other information out there for some people. Before we jump into the information, let me remind everybody this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not any type of guru with any certificates or anything. Just sharing my opinion, my ideas, so that you have some familiarity and some comfort with building wealth yourself and using all the tools that are available. So let's jump into what has happened recently with TXC. Um, on some of the previous minor update Zoom calls, there was a push, a push to see if almost to see if TXC would create the nudge that they've been doing or sustain the price. It was almost like a rebellion of sorts, to where people were trying to sell and drive the price down to create a demand to raise the liquidity. And uh, probably the best decision was to not participate in that, because TXC could have blew through a lot of capital, maintaining something that the market itself could not sustain or hold. Um, Through the beginning life of TXC, there was a lot of people who were miners only and did not participate in the exchanges. Also, partly because of the so few of exchanges that were accessible. And then even the exchanges that were accessible for TXC, they weren't all U.S. friendly. And so for a lot of the miners who are U.S. based, you would have had to. It was difficult to get in and actively trade and build the market. So there wasn't enough support built throughout the zones, um, or as the price rose, and then as it became more available, it was everybody's first reaction is that they have to sell some, or take advantage of the profit. So, among some other things, there's speculation that there was um, uh, a couple few whales who sold out really early, kind of against the talks and the plans, against the project, for whatever reasons that they had, that they needed to sell. They needed to sell. There was a couple wallets that definitely shifted big time, which, as much as it hurt the price, it actually helped the project, because that absorption of their coins spread out through the miners who are now learning how to get on these exchanges. So a lot of people who didn't have huge holdings of TXC, that didn't show up because they've only been mining very briefly, now were able to buy the coins and absorb some of those coins that were mined early when there wasn't very many miners. And part of that, the distribution skew, where too many people were in the top 100 or too many of the coins were in the top 100, was a negative in aspects for coin market cap verification. So it's kind of funny that amongst the blessing and the curse is that coin market cap verification is now going to be more obtainable, and it's back on the table to hopefully happen soon. Another thing that has happened, that the exact number won't be known. It could be as high as the 15 million, but it's probably less. Was that there has been a ton of people who have gotten scammed into giving out their passwords to their keys. This, is very unfortunate. It happens throughout every crypto project, banking information, anything. These scammers look for vulnerability, get you to try to act quickly and commit to something, and then you end up giving away information, thinking that you're talking to a CEO or a founder or an admin, somebody important. Just because they said they were doesn't mean that they are. So, important to remember for anybody watching this: if somebody is asking you for passwords or specific personal information, be careful, especially if they're trying to rush you. The biggest hint that it is a scam is that they are rushing you. So as people were getting scammed and were losing access to their wallets, the scammer was taking the coins and dumping them at the market, because they needed to get rid of them as fast as possible to get the money, and they don't care about the price. They just want the money, whatever it is. So kind of a perfect storm of some things that were putting some downward pressure on TXC individually, on top of the entire crypto market being down pretty bad this year, with Bitcoin down almost 18 or 20% or something from when Trump was inaugurated. Some others down significantly more. Many down 60%. And the entire crypto market as a whole was down like 7%. So a lot of downward pressures were going against TXC all at the right time. So here are the exchanges that list TXC based on the volume ranking. See, Pionex has climbed the ranks. I love this because this is where a lot of the community has really stepped in and started getting active with bots and stuff, and we'll get to that briefly. One thing that is a little bit frustrating is that Pionex mainly reports off of their .com exchange based on the volume average. So you're going to see that this is 133, but when we pop over here, it's really 152, and it's doing a lot more than that. So the fact that they're not combining when they're reporting the data to CoinMarketCap is a little bit annoying. And I don't know if that's on CoinMarketCap side or if it's Pionex's side on why they're not reporting better data or how they decide to report. And then also WeX is on here, or is not on here, but is an exchange that is used, and it's a U.S. friendly one. I've made some comments on X trying to get CoinMarketCap to verify WeX. I don't know what the delay is. That is definitely hindering it because there's probably another $20,000 to $30,000 a day being used on WeX that would contribute to the usage of, or the view of Texacoin. So what I have on the chart for CoinMarketCap is back in November, post nudge after the price kind of fell all the way down to the $3. This is when November 16th was the first video that I made. I had been making some long form type ups on some of the Facebook groups prior. I demonstrated some of the Fibonacci stuff. I demonstrated trend lines. I demonstrated the very basics of these zones and consolidation and all kinds of key terms. And then it wasn't until the 16th that I jumped on and I did a video. And what I noticed in the from doing the videos is that was received very well because a lot of people need to actually see the process of going through and adding money to an exchange, or how to buy and what am I looking for. So I think that helped a lot, and I was, at least I was told by a lot of people that it was very helpful to actually have the video. So I chose this as the high in that range because I feel like this is when we really started seeing the community getting in and trading, and it wasn't as bolstered up by the nudges or by early wallets and stuff on DexTrade. DexTrade is a tier 3 exchange that does not report its reserves and amongst other data points to CoinMarketCap. So CoinMarketCap doesn't take it very seriously, no matter how many people are holding on it and what their activity is. So the fact that we're getting more people on Bitmart, MEXC, Pionex, Bioeconomy, Jew, XT, these other higher tier exchanges, they're all tier 2 still. So they're not tier 1. They're not as highly regarded as like Coinbase or Kraken. But you have to get to tier 2 before you can get to tier 1. So it's nice to see that the volume is picking up on those, and Bitmart is kind of holding on as the number 1, and that's driving its exposure up. So this is the Fibonacci levels. There was another video that went out, great video, where the guy was just demonstrating how these algorithms follow this pattern. So here, let's jump into this one, and I'm going to specifically focus on that Fibonacci zone from when the most traders got active. I don't want to go all the way back to the $7 high because that was kind of artificially inflated from a promo that happened. But if we really just focus on this last 2 months of the most participation amongst the community, these are the zones that we're looking for. And as we can see, there was a specific, you can see where this was a specific zone of interest. This was a specific zone of interest where we wicked down, touched it, and then we consolidated on it afterwards. This one came back and tested here, an attempt to get to there but didn't quite make it. Fell all the way down, got to this zone and bounced, went all the way back up, cleared 2 zones, came back and retested the 1, fake test, broke down, wanted to kind of try to hold up as it was failing, but came back down here, and then we fell all the way down. It's going to say 0.75 on here, but there was orders on Dextrade at 0.5. There was Pionex at 0.7. So there was a big sell-off, and it isn't quite catching exactly the low on that as what CoinMarketCap is reporting, because CoinMarketCap is a volume-weighted average of the exchanges, so it's not going to be the specific highs and lows of everything. But you can see we're bouncing and we're heading back up to this 152 zone, which ironically is where Pionex is. And so as we get into a tighter zone, this was a window that I was looking at where I was doing a lot of activity with my bot trading. I was using in this downtrend, I was playing going back and forth between a reverse grid back to the regular grid. So I was going bearish to bullish, keeping the volume, accumulating some coins. I did end up losing a little bit on one of them. I think it was in this range. As it was dropping, I was doing okay, but this zone did not do as well because it flattened out, and doing those trades of closing and opening the bots too much actually was a negative. But I did make up okay here, and then down here. And now my bots are, I have 2 bots. I have this one right here that is at almost 25%, profiting 180, just under $184. This one's $250 in, profiting $40. When we go into the details on those, so you guys can see, I know everybody likes to see what is being run. I did the price range of $1 to $6. And this one is 0.75 to 5.75, just slightly under. This one's 75 grids, and I kind of did that based on this theme of 0.75 to 75. It's done 12 trades total, 4 in the last 24 hours. This one I did, the 1 to 6, 25 grids, just to have a smaller number, and it's only done 1 trade so far in the last 24 hours. But we're capturing some profit, we're holding some profit, so that's great on those. We're going to go back into this one and show what we got going on in the price. So here's a couple points that I've put on the 1 hour as far as where we consolidated before it dropped, where we had some multi-touches. We had this little multi-touch. I actually don't know why 164. I think I did that number because 160 is just a number in my head from before that I think we're, oh yeah, over here is this 164 area of interest. I don't know why I didn't so short out there. And then we had a tall wick right here, and we crested that. So this is now going to be our support, and I hope that we can continue and capture this 164. That'll be huge. The sentiment changed once people realized that this wasn't dead. There was a couple things that people were getting scared, and there was a lot of FUD going on a lot of the social media groups. And when there's downward momentum and it accelerates because of FUD, unfortunately, that scares a lot of people who are newer into the project. People who have been in the project for a long time, it was a lot easier for them to hold through it because they've heard more and they've seen more. Whereas the people who've only been in the last couple months have heard a lot more negative than they've heard positive. So we are now looking at positive momentum building, a pretty strong jump above the volume weighted average right here, and building pretty steady. This is based on Bitmart's data, is what TradingView uses for this one. I'm using Bitmart's data. Looking to get to this 145 zone. That is going to be off this high wick right here. And we'll see how we get there. And then we'll look for the 153 on the next mark, and then 168. These are just some levels that I'm looking at, wanting to see the price continue into. The cool thing is bullish momentum is picking up as people are realizing that it wasn't going anywhere. The project is not dead. In fact, it's actually accelerating. The new mines in Conroe going on line are going to be a huge boost to the network stability. right now, of course, the last couple days we've seen some fluctuations in that as they're getting them hooked up and coming online, getting the network to cooperate and store that pool data all together. Um, so once that balances and stabilizes, then there could be a look at testing the layer two actually. And it was kind of cool on the Zoom call on Monday. I told Bobby, I said, hey, I got a layer two ready. I have my website, I have my white paper, I have my tokenomics, I have the token built in the wallet that TXC provided. So the token's there, it's ready to go. All I need is my way to launch it and start selling it and start seeing some of those transactions. So I think mine would be a great test for TXC's layer 2 network, because there will be I would imagine that there would be a steady surge of on the initial rollout, but it's not going to be as big as like a whole city running onto the network and doing a community currency or a downtown digital dollar. And then, it'd be a lot easier with just one or two projects, because I know that there's a couple other people who have some as well. I think some of the smaller community projects from TXC miners would be a great test for the network to make sure that it's stable enough to hold it. And then while they work on getting when Victoria comes online, and I think the next one is Gonzales. There's other sites that are going to be coming online here in the next month probably. So by the end of January, could see even more stability for TXC's network, which is exciting. So now that we got out of the, oh, it's going to zero, oh, Bobby's running away because he went to Puerto Rico, all those doom and gloomers and fudders are being silenced, that he's not going anywhere and he's still here, and project is actually ramping up and having some more positive headlines. Everybody quickly realized that it was not time to abandon ship, and that's why you see this momentum building. So the cool thing is once you get over this, then there's a thinner down pressure here. And if the case true, or if the case is also true that the scammers are out of coins, and those early whales that were dumping are kind of out of coins, and they're not able to dump, that is going to allow for a better rise up with less resistance. And we should see, you know, the reclaim of 3 is going to be huge, because I look out as far as we can go on this to the 1 day, and let's go right there, and you can see that we clearly have broken this uptrend. I don't even have to draw the line, and you can already see it, but let's follow off this day was a big wick, and then let's go off the bottom of this day was a big wick, and we're going to make that line be orange. So you can see that this was the mechanical move up, staircasing its way up, and then this goes right into that area that I was talking about where the community was starting to get very active in the trading. And so getting back above this line is going to be the most bullish move for the project and the most exciting to go forward. But it's gotta break out of this kind of downtrend that it's in. And even though I'm kind of ignoring this zone, I'm gonna just go like this and like that. So this is, if we zoom in on this real quick, this one and this one go through this failure, and we're going to make this one be a different color to show negative as red. And as you can see, it was where we failed through and tried to retest again, failed through, tried to retest again, and failed. So if we zoom in on the daily, we still haven't quite got our bullish momentum on the daily to pick up. Let's get into a tighter window. 4 hour we are, and you can see, boom, this was resistance. So that line that I drew off of those points has been a trend line of interest in multiple areas throughout, and you can see right here. So speculative ideas would be that this bullish momentum is going to build, this volume is going to build up, you're going to clear these zones on the way. It's not going to go straight up, It's normally stairway up, elevator down. So the downward moves are always going to be more drastic than the upward moves. But even if we come up to here and test 144, come back, it doesn't have to come all the way back to here. I mean, any of these areas to come back partially, come back up, test 153, come back, boom. You're going to start seeing this ping pong up, and it's going to come to this downtrend. And breaking through this reverses that sentiment, reverses that downtrend. We have to break over this with confirmation where full candle closes above it. That will reverse that downtrend, and then the next goal is the uptrend. There will obviously be a new uptrend established, but to get back to the original uptrend of where TXC was in the beginning of the year when things were euphoric, got to get back up to this, and it's going to be a while. So let's zoom out and just kind of see based on the trend. If it gets out here, you know, we're looking to get back into that October liquidity zone of 380, but above, we're gonna say right here, that was a big odd candle that just sticks out to me. So if you see what I see on this candle right here, it's gonna chop it, but we see, where'd it go? You see this wick lines up kind of with this pattern in a 45-degree angle going up, but was met sharply with this big drop right here that's kind of really quick and sudden. If we come into that and we do a line on that one, we're going to make it be baby blue so that it sticks out, even though it's amongst the blue zones that we're trying to reclaim. That 275 is a number that I drew back in the very, very original, most long-dated coin market cap trend lines, that the 275 price was a positive bullish trend growth. So to get back over that would be huge. And then this is kind of the target. You know, is it going to be in a week? Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be in a month? No date on expectation, but you know, if I was buying whenever I have extra funds, I'm looking at being able to buy under 275 is a good discount right now, especially as this project continues growth. The adoption of layer 2 is going to be a huge catapult forward to the utility of the program, and the full adoption for a community currency is going to be huge. It would be one of the things where FOMO would kick in and the price would probably launch, especially as a lot of people start getting on and the traffic gets really busy. It's going to create a huge demanding surge that's going to be tough to suppress. So a lot of negative FUD that probably has scared a lot of people. Hopefully the fact that the mines are still being built and coming online, the community currency still on the table, getting very close. Coin market cap verification is very, very close now. There's some positive things on the horizon. Hopefully that is reassuring enough to many that they don't need to abandon ship. Nobody's going anywhere, and this project is just taking a little bit longer than 1 year to build, which is totally fine. And giving more people more time to acquire more tokens, so that when the price is fully adopted and taken off at whatever path point that it wants to be at, you will see more people happy with what they're holding. So hopefully this gives you some confidence and reassurance. It's not going anywhere. We are looking in a positive, optimistic view right now. I think especially considering the Q&As that I did and the Zoom calls I did with Thomas's team, one of the Rangers, we got a lot of bots in that 180 to 220 range started. And so there's a lot of people who might be looking at theirs as red and be concerned that their bot's not working. And just know that your bot is working. One of the things that's the most helpful with these bots, that even if it's not profitable, because it's, you know, it was started at too high of a price, because it can't magically make profit. It doesn't force orders. But what it's doing is, so you don't have to constantly stare at your screen and watch the chart. It's placing all these orders throughout so that there is a very liquid and full order book. When you go to Pionex on the manual side of the trade, you can see the order book is full. And it's 151 to 152. It's not crazy. But when you go into a new tab, let's go to by economy, for example, who is actually one of the exchanges that's being utilized by the market makers. So you would think that this one would have a nice full order book. Did I click? I didn't click. And then we're on TXC, and you look at the order book, and it goes from 135, 115 to 148. It's a huge gap. It's very sporadically filled. You got 50s and 7s and 3s. So this is because there's no bots on this. There's no spread out order. This is the market makers and then the people who are using it, who are manually having to place the orders. This is not a healthy order book for a continued price, and that's why you have these big gaps all over the place, because look at all this, probably zero volume, zero volume, zero volume throughout this whole thing. Zero volume, zero volume. But where Pionex is, a nice clean full order book, prices balanced. There's no crazy depth on this that's skewed or off. And even though there's some of this that only has one, like on this candle right here, we only had one volume, two, but there's steady orders being filled throughout. Now, even though it's one, there's no zeros. That's the important part. So the bots are helping create a liquid order book that can place orders, and as long as there's orders being placed, the price can continue to move up, as you see. Because if there's no orders being placed or being filled, it's automatically going to fall down to the buy to fill an order. So without a full book, if you're not placing orders above and below to fill in this 137 to 148 gap, it's going to automatically fall through and go fill this 135 order, because that's where the liquidity is, and that's where these markets will always fall to. So that's the benefit of what the bots are doing. It's not like, oh, we're all doing bots and we're all making profit because it's magically just doing it. A part of it is, yeah, you're going to get some profit. As you can see, my bots are doing very well. I didn't have to make a single one of these trades to get 24% profit. I'm up 186 bucks, and if you think of that in terms of $1.52 TXC, I made 180 TXC additional TXCs. Now, granted, that's not exactly what happened, but if you think of it in terms like that, if I was to close this out, all that profit that I captured is more TXC that I have. So the bots are not going to get you rich. You're not saving the project with it, but you're contributing greatly by creating a healthy order book that allows the price to move fluidly, because we need the sells to happen, but we need the buys to happen. And if there's nobody to catch the buy here, the price is going to fall all the way down to wherever it will catch the buy. So by having bots built up, the price doesn't fall as sharply. So on the way to the price back up, I'm speculating here, but there's going to be a decent move to the top side as these get cleared out. So I mean, even if we just look at like this one right here, top wick, that's 215. We're going to see some pretty solid moves up here. We'll even look at this one. I'm kind of rambling here a little bit, so I'm going to wrap this up. But the over $2 range with all the bots that'll be in profit, and then also the excitement that will come ideally as more people that see that the bots are benefiting not only themselves, but they're also benefiting TXC as it gets coin market cap verified and it gets on more exchanges, and the market keeps bolstering, and more people come on. $20, $200, $2,000. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just helping fill the book of liquidity. Because if you're only dependent on the project's liquidity, if TXC is the only person providing liquidity in it, the value will never be able to go up, because people are only selling into it, and you're only getting a percentage of what you're putting into it as far as the mining shares. And a lot of these people have mined enough that is more valuable than what they put into it. But you can't exit if there's not enough liquidity. So have to be appealing to get outside money and show that this is one coin market cap verified. So that's got to be top priority, I feel. right now for establishing the product as a legitimate thing. Building the mines is massive appeal to investors, and more investors right circles back to being CoinMarketCap verified because there's more eyes on it. It legitimizes the project. So social media presence, so it knows that people are aware of it and involved in it. More people holding on more wallets and more exchanges, it means that more people are interested and more people are holding it. The mines getting the network stable to provide that security for the redundancy and the consistency for the mining output to maintain that 95,000 coins a day um, will be strong for miners sentiment. And then that layer 2 demand, the utility is coming, and that's going to create usage, whether it be $100,000 a month or um, or $10,000 a month. It's gonna be helpful right now because TXC's liquidity is so thin right now. Any little bit helps. So don't feel bad if you're only able to provide $10 or $20 periodically, or once a month, once a week, every day. If you're able to come in big chunks, that's great. I hope everybody's successful and has plenty of profits to make with TXC, with their other tokens. But just, look, everybody is down. XRP is down. Um, their chart's not great. Solana, zoom out. I'm going to go into their daily. They're not as bad lately, but they were almost $300 back in the beginning of January. They're 117. So quite the fall off for them. Ethereum, quite the fall off. They were 494, almost $5,000 here back in August. Similar time when TXC was up, and they're down massive. Bitcoin has been battling the big sell off and trying to come back up. Looking like it's trying to establish this uptrend off this dip. But this is down hard from October. This is when everybody dropped and Bitcoin went straight down vertically. So if you look at TXC from that same time zone, and they're not that different. Crypto was hit hard. So zoom out. Know that it's not a guarantee, and it's building. The liquidity is building. The project is building. The validity of this is growing. We are seeing massive upside potential. And anytime that there's a bigger reward, there's also bigger risk. So be careful with how much you're willing to put in this. Don't ever overcommit, because then emotions come out and it's difficult to have the more logical side and be able to be comfortable in the rainstorm. So if you're comfortable in the rain, crypto is a fun one to play with. This was quite the long video, so I apologize, but I touched on a couple things. I know people have been asking about the bots a lot, so I wanted to show everybody the benefits of the bot. I wanted to show everybody the pivot that TXC is experiencing itself in the market as it's redirecting and growing, and we're switching to a bullish move, because this side looks a lot more fun. It's a V-shaped recovery. So let's make that Nike swoosh and keep on going up. But hope everybody was making some money and is excited for Christmas tomorrow. Hope Santa Claus brings everybody massive profits, and the new year is tons of opportunities as we dive into crypto, stocks, day trading, silvers, golds, minerals, real estate, anything you guys want to talk about. Let's talk about it, and let's all share our ideas and grow our wealth together. So hope everybody had a good or enjoyed this, and I appreciate the support. The like, follows, and comments are always great to hear from you guys. So till the next one, have a good one. See ya.